What if everything you've been taught about family, about unwavering loyalty and unconditional love, has been subtly weaponized against your very peace of mind? Imagine the people you're genetically bound to, the ones society insists are your ultimate support system, are actually the silent architects of your deepest anxieties, the invisible chains preventing you from truly living. They might be draining your energy, sabotaging your ambitions, and actively undermining your happiness, all under the guise of caring, or it's just how we are. Today, we tear down that sacred facade. We expose the truth that many refuse to acknowledge, the uncomfortable reality that your greatest source of stress might be sitting at your own Thanksgiving table. This isn't just about difficult relatives. This is about reclaiming your sovereignty. You know the feeling, don't you? That familiar tightening in your chest, the subtle dread that creeps in right before a family gathering, whether it's a casual Sunday dinner or a major holiday like Thanksgiving or Christmas. You anticipate the barrage, the unsolicited advice about your career, your dating life, your weight, your finances, as if your personal choices are open source project for public comment, ripe for critique by everyone from your well-meaning aunt to your overly critical parent. Maybe it's the passive-aggressive jabs, disguised as playful banter, that leave you feeling small, defensive, and utterly drained. Or perhaps it's the outright criticism, delivered with a sigh that implies you're a constant disappointment, always falling short of some unspoken, ever-shifting ideal. You've probably spent countless hours justifying your decisions, defending your partner, or explaining your lifestyle to people who, despite their claims of love and only wanting what's best, seem determined to see you through a lens of judgment, often projecting their own unfulfilled desires onto your life. Perhaps you're the one always caught in the crossfire, the designated peacemaker, expected to smooth over decades-old sibling rivalries or parental resentments. You're forced to mediate endless family dramas that have nothing to do with you, absorbing the emotional fallout as if it were your own personal responsibility. You carry secrets that aren't yours to keep, burdened by the unspoken expectations to maintain harmony, even if it means sacrificing your own truth, your own values, or even your own relationships. You've probably sacrificed your own dreams, put your aspirations on hold, or even risked your financial stability, all to live up to some ancient, unwritten family code, some outdated notion of what good family members do. And what's the reward? Often it's feeling resentful, unappreciated, and utterly exhausted, wondering if your efforts are truly seen or valued. This isn't just family stuff that everyone goes through, a quirky dynamic you just have to tolerate. This is a silent, insidious war on your personal freedom, a constant erosion of your mental health, and a direct assault on your inner peace. You're not being too sensitive when you feel this way. You're experiencing a legitimate invasion of your emotional territory, and the cost, measured in sleepless nights, anxiety, and unfulfilled potential, is far higher than you realize. It's the subtle art of emotional manipulation, cloaked in the sacred garment of kinship, and it's slowly but surely robbing you of your authentic self. You might feel trapped, believing there's no escape, no way to set yourself free without tearing the entire fabric of your life apart. But what if there was another way? What if the key to your liberation lies in understanding a profound wisdom few ever truly grasp? For centuries, the sharpest minds, the strategists, the true architects of resilience, understood a profound, often uncomfortable truth. Your inner peace is not a luxury. It is your most vital asset, your most guarded treasure. They didn't just preach endurance or stoicism in the abstract. They provided a practical roadmap to emotional invincibility. Philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor who governed an empire, and Seneca, the influential Stoic statesman, weren't just thinkers confined to ivory towers. They were masters of the human condition, navigating political intrigue and personal hardship with unwavering calm. They understood that while the external world, including the chaotic, unpredictable actions and opinions of your family, lies largely beyond your control, you possess absolute, undisputed dominion over your own inner state. This radical insight is the foundation of true freedom. This isn't about abandoning your family or acting with cruelty. Far from it. This is about strategic self-preservation, about building an emotional fortress within yourself that no external force, no matter how persistent or well-intentioned, can penetrate. It's about applying a powerful, practical form of nihilism to the constant noise and often irrational demands of family dynamics. It's about recognizing that much of what bothers you, much of what feels like a personal attack or an unbearable burden, ultimately holds no inherent meaning beyond the significance you choose to assign it. Their judgments, their expectations, their drama, these are merely external phenomena. They only gain power over you when you choose to internalize them, when you grant them access to your inner sanctuary. This ancient wisdom, often overlooked in our modern, emotionally entangled world, offers you a blueprint to detach from the drama, to redefine your relationships, and to finally reclaim the peace that is rightfully yours. It's the hidden truth that allows you to navigate the most complex family landscapes, not as a victim constantly reacting, but as the grandmaster of your own life, making deliberate, conscious moves to protect your most valuable possession, your peace. If you're tired of being a pawn in someone else's emotional game, if you're ready to stop sacrificing your well-being on the altar of familial obligation, and if you're prepared to step into your power and become the undisputed architect of your own peace, then I want you to make a public declaration right now. Go to the comment section below and type this simple, yet profoundly powerful statement. I choose my peace above all else from today. Let that commitment solidify your resolve, because what we're about to uncover will fundamentally change how you interact with your family, and more importantly, how you interact with yourself. This journey begins with the first pillar of your impenetrable emotional fortress, the unshakable core. Principle 1, the unshakable core. The indifference of external opinion, quote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you'll find strength. Marcus Aurelius, your family's opinions, their cutting criticisms, their unspoken expectations. These are nothing more than external events. They are sounds, vibrations in the air, words on a screen. They possess no inherent power over your inner state, over your self-worth, or over your chosen path, unless you consciously grant them that power. This principle isn't about ignoring reality. It's about recognizing that your value is not a commodity to be approved or disapproved of by anyone else, especially those who claim to know what's best for you. It's about constructing an inner sanctum, a personal fortress that remains impervious to the slings and arrows of familial judgment, no matter how sharp or persistent they might be. Their words are merely echoes in the vastness of your own internal sovereignty. You are the sole architect of your self-esteem. Consider this. Your parents, perhaps with good intentions, relentlessly criticize your career path. They might compare you to your cousin who made it big in Silicon Valley, or your sibling who became a successful lawyer. They project their own unfulfilled dreams, their own anxieties about financial security, or their ingrained societal pressures onto your choices. The majority would internalize this. They'd feel a knot of guilt, a pang of self-doubt, or an overwhelming urge to justify their decisions, spending precious energy defending themselves against a jury that was never truly impartial. But you, the one who understands the unshakable core, will acknowledge their words as mere sounds, external to your true self-worth. You understand that their critique often stems from their landscape of fears and expectations, not a true, objective reflection of your capabilities or happiness. You see it for what it is, a projection, not a truth about you. You cultivate an unassailable inner conviction, knowing your path is your own, and its validity comes from within. The majority seeks validation and conformity. You will cultivate an unassailable inner conviction. Principle 2, the observer's stance, the art of strategic detachment, quote, "He suffers more than necessary, who suffers before it is necessary." Seneca family drama, with its intricate web of grievances, alliances, and unspoken rules, often demands your emotional investment. It's designed to pull you in, to make you take sides, to absorb the toxicity. This principle teaches you a critical skill, to view these interactions not as a participant, but as a detached observer. Imagine you are watching a play unfold on a stage. You're present in the audience, perhaps even close to the action, but you are not on the stage, not entangled in the narrative. You recognize the familiar patterns, the predictable triggers, the well-worn roles each family member plays, without allowing yourself to be dragged into the emotional vortex. You perceive, but you do not participate in the emotional chaos. Think about a typical holiday gathering, perhaps Thanksgiving dinner, where a simmering family argument over politics or a long-forgotten slight suddenly erupts. Voices rise, accusations fly, and the tension becomes palpable. The majority feels compelled to intervene, to defend a side, to absorb the negativity, or to feel personally offended by the general discord. They get swept up in the current, their peace shattered. But you, equipped with the observer's stance, mentally step back. You observe the dynamics, the underlying insecurities, the desperate need for control, the old wounds being reopened. You see the emotional energy swirling around, but you refuse to let it penetrate your own peace. Your presence remains calm, a stark, almost unsettling contrast to the surrounding chaos. You are there physically, but emotionally, you are anchored in an unshakable inner calm. The majority gets swept into the current. You anchor yourself in calm observation. Mini affirmation: I declare my emotional sovereignty. My peace is non-negotiable. Type this in the comments now and solidify your commitment. Principle 3. The immutable boundaries. Defining your non-negotiables. Quote, "The only way to gain control over your life is to set boundaries and stick to them." Adapted from modern wisdom, echoing Stoic self-mastery. You must, unequivocally, define what you will and will not tolerate. These are your red lines, your personal constitution, the sacred tenets of your well-being. Without clearly defined boundaries, you become a porous vessel, allowing every stray comment, every intrusive question, every unreasonable demand to seep into your inner world and compromise your peace. Communicating these boundaries firmly, yet calmly, is not an act of aggression. It is an act of profound self-respect and self-preservation. It is about stating your terms for engagement, making it clear what kind of interactions you are open to and what you will simply not entertain. Consider a scenario where a relative, perhaps an aunt or uncle, consistently makes intrusive comments about your weight, your relationship status, or your financial situation, perhaps asking, "When are you going to settle down?" Or, "Are you sure you should be eating that?" The majority would endure it, offer vague hints of discomfort, or nervously laugh it off, allowing their boundaries to be eroded by guilt or a misguided sense of politeness. But you, the architect of your own peace, will calmly and directly state, "I'm not comfortable discussing my personal finances/weight/relationship. Please respect that." There is no anger, no lengthy explanation, just a clear, concise statement of fact. If that boundary is crossed again, you strategically disengage. You might change the subject, excuse yourself, or even end the conversation entirely. This isn't rudeness. It's a strategic withdrawal, a defense of your personal territory. The majority allows their boundaries to be eroded by guilt. You fortify yours with unwavering resolve. Principle 4. The eloquence of stillness. The power of strategic silence. Quote, "Know when to speak and when to be silent." Sun Tzu: not every comment, not every provocation requires a response. In fact, sometimes silence is the most powerful and strategic answer you can offer. It denies energy to conflict, prevents escalation, and protects your peace by refusing to engage in the battle. This isn't about being passive or submissive. It's about a strategic withdrawal, a refusal to be drawn into a pointless skirmish. It's an act of profound control, demonstrating that you are the master of your reactions, not a puppet dancing to their tune. Your silence, when wielded deliberately, can be far more impactful than any words. Your silence, when wielded deliberately, can be far more impactful than any words. It's a refusal to play their game, a subtle yet powerful declaration that you will not be manipulated into emotional warfare. This strategic non-engagement forces them to confront their own actions or simply leaves them with no one to fight, draining their aggressive energy into a void. Principle 5. The unveiling gaze. Understanding their motives without internalizing. Quote, all men are bad and ever ready to display their vicious nature whenever they find occasion. Niccolo Machiavelli, this quote, often misinterpreted, isn't a call to cynicism, but a stark reminder of human imperfection. It teaches us to look beyond the surface, to understand that people's actions, particularly within the complex web of family, frequently stem from their own unresolved issues, their deep-seated insecurities, their fears, or the patterns ingrained from their upbringing. Their criticisms, their passive-aggressive maneuvers, their attempts at manipulation. These are rarely truly about you. They are almost always a projection of their own internal landscape, a reflection of their own struggles. Grasping this profound truth allows you to instantly depersonalize their behavior. You cease to take it as a direct assault on your character or choices, and instead, see it for what it truly is, a symptom of their own internal chaos. Imagine a parent who relentlessly criticizes your chosen career path. They might push you towards a traditional profession, perhaps a doctor or a lawyer, a path they envisioned for you, or one they themselves never pursued. The majority would internalize this as a personal failing, feeling inadequate or guilty for not meeting these expectations. They might spend years trying to prove themselves, constantly seeking approval that will never truly come. But you, armed with the unveiling gaze, recognize that this isn't about your capabilities. It might stem from their own unfulfilled dreams, their profound anxieties about your financial security in an uncertain world, or their inherent need for control, a way to feel relevant in your adult life. You understand their motivation without allowing it to dictate your path, without internalizing their judgment as a reflection of your worth. You see the mechanism, the underlying fear or desire, and thus, their words lose their sting. The majority takes every slight personally, absorbing the emotional shrapnel. You see the underlying mechanism, detaching yourself from the emotional impact, understanding that their battle is not yours. Principle 6. The architect of your interactions. The art of selective engagement. Quote, associate with those who will improve you. Seneca, this principle is a radical declaration of personal agency. You are not a passive recipient of familial interactions. You are the architect. You are under no obligation to engage deeply with every single family member, nor are you required to attend every single family event, especially if those interactions consistently drain your energy or compromise your peace. You have an inherent right, a critical responsibility to yourself, to curate your social circle. This includes the people you spend time with and, critically, how much time you spend with them, even within your own family. This isn't about cutting people off entirely unless necessary. It's about strategic investment. You choose where you invest your most precious commodities, your time, your emotional energy, and your mental bandwidth. Consider a family member who consistently brings negativity, gossip, or open drama to every gathering. Perhaps it's an uncle who always brings up divisive politics, or a cousin who thrives on tearing others down. The majority feels a sense of guilt, believing they must attend every event or engage with every relative out of obligation. They endure hours of discomfort, sacrificing their own well-being for a superficial sense of duty. But you, the architect of your interactions, will strategically limit your time with that particular individual. You might choose not to attend events where their presence will be detrimental to your peace. You might opt for carefully managed, one-on-one interactions on your terms, perhaps a brief coffee, rather than immersing yourself in large, chaotic gatherings that guarantee emotional turmoil. You learn to say no, not with aggression, but with calm, unyielding conviction, understanding that your well-being is paramount. The majority allows guilt to erode their boundaries and dictate their social calendar. You prioritize your well-being and strategically manage your social investments, like a master chess player moving pieces to protect their king. Mini affirmation. I am the guardian of my energy. I choose who enters my inner circle. Type this powerful statement in the comments below. Let it be a testament to your commitment to self-preservation. Principle 7. The serenity of what is. Radical acceptance of what you cannot change. Quote, do not seek for things to happen the way you want them to. Rather, wish that what happens happens the way it happens. Then you will be happy. Epictetus, this is perhaps one of the most liberating yet challenging Stoic principles. There are certain family dynamics, entrenched personalities, and historical grievances that are so deeply ingrained, so fundamentally woven into the fabric of your family system, that they are quite simply unchangeable. Fighting against these immutable realities is not only futile, it is a self-destructive exercise that will relentlessly drain your spirit, leaving you exhausted and resentful. This principle is about radical acceptance, acknowledging what is without judgment, without resistance, and without the desperate, draining need for it to be different. Once you accept what cannot be changed, you liberate an immense amount of energy that can then be focused on adapting your own response, managing your exposure, and fortifying your inner peace. You stop banging your head against a brick wall and start building a door around it. Imagine a family member who will never change their prejudiced views, their tendency to gossip, or their habit of making inappropriate jokes. You've tried to educate them, you've engaged in arguments, you've pleaded for understanding, all to no avail. The majority would continue this Sisyphean struggle, hoping that one day their efforts will finally break through, leading to endless frustration and anger. But you, embracing the serenity of what is, accept this as their nature. You understand that their character is their own burden, not yours to fix. Your focus shifts entirely. Instead of attempting to change them, which is a battle you cannot win, you manage your exposure. You might limit conversations on certain topics, excuse yourself when a gossip starts, or simply disengage mentally. This isn't about avoidance. It's about strategic self-preservation. You accept their nature, not because you approve, but because you understand the futility of resistance. The majority fights windmills, exhausting themselves in endless, unwinnable battles against immutable personalities and ingrained family patterns. You, however, build your own sanctuary, adapting your responses and protecting your inner peace from the unchangeable. You understand that true power lies not in controlling others, but in mastering your own internal state, your own reactions, and your own environment. This radical acceptance liberates vast amounts of energy that were once wasted on futile struggles, allowing you to redirect them towards building a life that truly serves you. But even with all these strategies, there's one ultimate defense, an unassailable stronghold against all external disturbances, especially the persistent, often insidious pressures of family. This is the final, most crucial pillar of your emotional fortress, the fortress of self. As Seneca wisely declared, withdraw into yourself whenever you can. For the man who makes time for himself and goes to meet himself is never idle. Your ultimate defense against the relentless tides of external disturbances, the unsolicited advice, the subtle manipulations, and the outright drama from your family, is a robust, independent inner life. This isn't about isolating yourself from the world or becoming a recluse. It's about strategically fortifying your internal landscape, building an inner world so rich, so fulfilling, and so self-validating that external opinions, no matter how insistent or well-meaning, lose their grip entirely. Think of it as constructing a mental and emotional high-security vault for your peace. Cultivate hobbies that genuinely ignite your passion, whether it's mastering a complex coding language, perfecting a challenging yoga pose, diving deep into philosophical texts, or restoring a vintage muscle car in your garage. Seek out friendships that truly uplift and support you, individuals who see and celebrate your authentic self, rather than trying to fit you into a predefined box. Establish self-care routines that deeply ground and rejuvenate your spirit, from mindful meditation to intense workouts at the gym. This inner sanctuary is more than just a temporary refuge from the storm. It's a permanent wellspring of strength, a consistent source of unwavering contentment that doesn't rely on external validation. When your sense of worth, purpose, and happiness is internally generated, when you are the sole architect of your own joy, the incessant noise from the outside world, including familial expectations, judgments, and criticisms, simply becomes background static, an irrelevant hum that cannot penetrate your core. It's about creating a personal universe where you are the sun, generating your own radiant light and warmth, rather than a mere moon, passively reflecting the light of others. This profound internal self-sufficiency is where true emotional invincibility is forged, making you truly unflappable. Imagine dedicating specific, non-negotiable blocks of time each week to activities that truly bring you profound joy and a deep sense of peace. Perhaps it's waking up before dawn to hit the trails for a challenging hike in a national park, feeling the crisp morning air and the solitude of nature. Maybe it's losing yourself completely in a complex novel, exploring new worlds and ideas, or spending focused hours in your workshop, meticulously crafting something with your own hands. It could be dedicating time to silent meditation, connecting with your breath and quieting the mental chatter, or engaging in deep, thought-provoking conversations with chosen friends who genuinely understand and respect your journey. These aren't just leisure activities. They are deliberate, strategic acts of self-fortification. They create a strong, independent personal identity, a deep sense of competence and fulfillment that is entirely separate from family interactions. When you have this robust inner life, deeply rooted in your own values, passions, and achievements, you become far less susceptible to the influence, demands, or emotional blackmail of family members. Their attempts to define you, to criticize your choices, or to pull you into their endless drama simply bounce off the reinforced walls of your inner fortress. You are complete within yourself. Your identity is solid, and therefore, their approval or disapproval holds no power over you. You are not seeking their validation because you are already validated by your own self-worth and purpose. This profound independence transforms your relationships, allowing you to engage on your terms, from a place of strength and genuine choice, rather than from a position of need, obligation, or fear. You become the unmoving center in a world that constantly tries to pull you off balance. The vast majority of people, often unconsciously, seek external validation. They rely on others, particularly their family, for a sense of happiness, purpose, and self-worth. They spend their lives trying to earn approval, to fit into molds, and to constantly react to the expectations placed upon them, becoming emotionally dependent and easily swayed. You, however, will build an unassailable internal source of strength and contentment. You will become self-sufficient in your joy, self-reliant in your peace, and self-validated in your existence. This makes you untouchable, not in an arrogant way, but in a profoundly peaceful and powerful one. You understand that the greatest battle is often fought within, and by winning that battle, by cultivating your inner sanctuary, you become immune to the external skirmishes. Your peace becomes your own creation, a masterpiece built from within, invulnerable to the chaos outside. Your peace becomes your own creation, a masterpiece built from within, invulnerable to the chaos outside. Now, before we draw to a close, a critical understanding must be firmly etched into your mind. The profound wisdom we've shared today, the principles of strategic detachment and inner fortification, are not a license for cruelty. They are not an invitation to abandon your loved ones with cold indifference, nor are they a weapon to wield in bitter family feuds. This knowledge is not a sword designed for destruction. It is unequivocally a shield. It is a formidable defense, forged in the fires of ancient philosophy, meant solely for your protection, for the unwavering preservation of your mental and emotional well-being. It's about building a sanctuary for yourself, not burning down bridges. This isn't about severing ties out of spite, but about strategically recalibrating them out of self-respect. It's about fostering healthier, more honest interactions by first honoring yourself, by establishing a baseline of personal integrity that demands respect. True strength isn't found in relentless confrontation, but in the quiet, unshakable resolve to protect your inner world. This wisdom allows you to engage with your family, not from a place of vulnerability and emotional reaction, but from a position of calm, deliberate power. It empowers you to break free from toxic cycles, not by inflicting pain, but by refusing to participate in the games that drain your spirit. You are learning to say no to chaos and yes to your own peace, and in doing so, you might even inspire healthier dynamics around you. This is about elevating your own existence, recognizing that a truly well-adjusted individual, one who guards their peace, is better equipped to contribute positively to any relationship. It's about becoming the person you were always meant to be, unburdened by the unnecessary weight of external expectations and drama. You have been given a map, a detailed blueprint to emotional freedom, a guide to navigate the treacherous waters of family dynamics. You now understand with crystal clarity that while family ties are often deep and enduring, they do not and should not own your peace. Your inner tranquility is your birthright, not a privilege to be granted or revoked by others. You possess the formidable tools to navigate even the most challenging relationships with strategic detachment, unwavering boundaries, and an unshakable inner core. The power to choose, to define your own emotional landscape, now rests firmly in your hands. This is the decisive moment, the crossroads where your future self is determined. Will you continue to be tossed about by the relentless tides of familial expectation, guilt, and drama? Will you remain a pawn in a game you never agreed to play, constantly reacting, constantly defending, constantly feeling drained and misunderstood? Or will you seize the reins of your own life, apply these timeless principles, and become the grandmaster of your own existence? Will you carve out a sanctuary of peace so profound, so resilient, that no external force, no matter how insistent, no matter how intimately connected, can ever penetrate its walls? The choice is stark, the implications profound. One path leads to continued emotional servitude, to living a life dictated by the whims and anxieties of others. The other leads to liberation, to a life where your peace is paramount, where your boundaries are respected, and where your inner world is a fortress of calm. Imagine the freedom. Imagine the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you are in control of your reactions, your energy, and your emotional investments. This isn't just about surviving family gatherings. It's about thriving in every aspect of your life because you've mastered the ultimate skill, self-mastery in the face of external pressure. This is about stepping into your true power, not as a defiant rebel, but as a sovereign individual who understands the true value of their own peace. It's about finally honoring the unspoken promise you made to yourself, the yearning for a life unburdened, a life lived on your own terms. If this video has resonated with you, if it has offered even a flicker of hope for reclaiming your emotional territory and securing your peace, then I urge you to take immediate action. Hit that like button right now. Your engagement helps this critical message reach more individuals who are silently struggling, who desperately need to hear this liberating truth. And if you're ready to continue this journey of self-mastery, to unlock more practical wisdom that empowers you to take absolute control of your life and forge an unshakable character, then subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. Don't miss another blueprint for building the life you deserve. Finally, and most importantly, I want you to make a commitment. In the comments below, tell me, what is one specific boundary you will commit to setting or reinforcing with a family member starting today? Make it concrete. Make it actionable. Share your commitment, and let's build a powerful community of individuals who choose peace above all else who are actively reclaiming their emotional sovereignty, one deliberate action at a time. Your journey to unflappable peace begins now. But let's be absolutely clear on one crucial point. The profound wisdom and strategic principles we've explored today are not a justification for malice, nor a blueprint for abandoning those you care about. This isn't about severing ties with cold indifference or wielding these insights as a weapon in family disputes. Quite the opposite. This knowledge is your shield, a formidable defense crafted not for destruction, but for the sacred preservation of your mental and emotional well-being. It's about cultivating relationships that are genuinely healthier, more honest, and mutually respectful by first and foremost honoring yourself. Your self-respect forms the foundation for all truly meaningful connections. You now hold a powerful map to emotional freedom, a guide to navigating the often turbulent landscape of family dynamics without losing yourself. You understand, with unyielding clarity, that while family bonds are undeniably significant, they do not and must never dictate your inner peace. You've been equipped with an arsenal of tools: strategic detachment, the power of immutable boundaries, the eloquence of stillness, and the cultivation of an unshakable inner core. The path ahead, as always, is yours to choose. Will you continue to be tossed relentlessly by the currents of familial expectations, guilt, and drama, a mere pawn in a game whose rules you never truly consented to? Will you allow the constant noise and often irrational demands of others to erode your spirit and sabotage your potential? Or will you, starting today, seize the reins of your own existence? Will you apply these timeless, practical principles to become the undisputed grandmaster of your own life, meticulously carving out a sanctuary of peace so profound, so resilient, that no external force, no criticism, no manipulation, no drama can ever penetrate its fortified walls? This is your moment of decision, a pivotal crossroads. One path offers the familiar, yet exhausting, road of emotional servitude, where your happiness remains tethered to the whims of others. The other promises liberation, a life where your peace is paramount, your boundaries are respected, and your inner world becomes an impenetrable fortress of calm. Imagine that freedom. Imagine the quiet, unwavering confidence that comes from knowing you are the sovereign ruler of your reactions, your energy, and your emotional investments. This isn't just about surviving holidays like Thanksgiving dinner or enduring awkward family reunions. It's about thriving in every single facet of your life because you've mastered the ultimate, most critical skill: self-mastery in the face of relentless external pressure. This is about stepping into your true, unadulterated power, not as a defiant rebel, but as an individual who deeply understands and honors the intrinsic value of their own peace, their own mental health, and their own authentic self. It's about finally fulfilling that unspoken promise you made to yourself, that yearning for a life unburdened, a life lived entirely on your own terms, with integrity and profound inner peace. If this video has ignited even a flicker of recognition, if it has offered a glimpse of the peace you deserve, then take a moment right now to hit that like button. Your simple action ensures this vital message reaches more individuals across America, people silently struggling, desperately searching for these liberating truths. And if you're ready to continue building your inner empire, to unlock more practical, strategic wisdom that empowers you to take absolute control of your life and forge an unshakable character, then subscribe to this channel. Turn on those notifications so you never miss another blueprint for crafting the life you truly deserve, a life of unflappable peace and unwavering self-sovereignty. The time to reclaim your power is now.